Hello and welcome to the Spotlight. We have another author with us tonight, um, Kwajelyn Lewis. Did I get it right?
Yes.
Okay, we got it right. And she has a new book, Matters of the Heart. I love the cover. I absolutely love this cover. And we'll talk about maybe how that came about. But how are you this evening?
I'm good. Thank you. How are you?
I'm well, I'm well. So your author, your book is of poetry. But can you tell us a little bit who Kwajelyn Lewis is?
Well, I am from Macon, Georgia, and I went to college in Atlanta. I graduated from Spelman. I am an educator for uh, about 30 years. I presently teach first grade, and I have a son.
Okay, so it's what's the biggest challenge, the first grade or your son?
Oh, my son is an adult, so
Oh, okay, all right. So that's
first
not a
grade is.
challenge at all. And how is it teaching first grade?
It has its challenges, um, but it's enjoyable.
Okay, good. Teachers don't, in my opinion, they don't get enough of the credit that they deserve. Okay. So, let's go with the obvious question. Is this your first published work?
No,
Okay, and what do you have before this one?
I have the gift of poetry.
Okay. All right. Is that available for purchase?
Yes.
Okay, good, 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 good. Okay. All right. So, and my questions are here. I can't all hold them in my head, so I have them
Okay.
here. All right. So, this is a book of poetry. But what was your inspiration maybe for the book itself and then maybe for some of the individual poetry?
Um, I had someone that I have a relationship with, so sort of like a muse,
Okay.
and the inspiration kind of came from different aspects of that relationship.
Okay. And I kind of noticed that it is broken, it's 41 poems broken into three chapters.
Right.
And it seems like a walk through life. Uh,
Hmm.
so we have three chapters.
Hmm.
The first chapter is Living in Love.
Hmm.
Second chapter is Living with a Broken Heart, and then Living My Best Life.
Right.
So if you were to break the first chapter down, Living in Love, why did you call it Living in Love? And like I say, it's kind of a step through of what I thought was your life, and that kind of answers one of my questions. But can you kind of the chapter of living in love, if I'm not mistaken, that book is that chapter has more poems than the other two chapters, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So living in love, what is that chapter based on?
Just how I was feeling at that particular time in my life, and still feel. Um, and it was just very easy to write these poems because that was what I was experiencing at the time. Um, just having a wonderful experience of meeting someone and starting to, fall in love with that person.
Mhm. And not to be too personal, then it gets into the broken heart.
Just sort of things as relationships sometimes take a turn. Um, and perhaps you don't see, eye to eye or you're not on the same page. So the poems in that part of the book come from some feelings of maybe um, uh, sort of disconnect and still trying to stay in love, but working your way through a relationship and with expectations of getting back to how I was feeling when I wrote the poems Living in Love, where I was feeling maybe feeling a certain way and the other person was not. And so therefore I got the kind of brokenhearted poems because I was feeling one way and the other person may not have been feeling the same way. So those poems are kind of my take on how I was feeling at that time in the relationship.
Okay. And then the last chapter is living your best life. So tell us about that one.
Well, just reaching a point where no matter what goes on, you reach a point where you can start to look at your life and try to put things together and try to live your life the best you can with no matter what may be going on, whether you are in love or have a broken heart or whatever experiences may be taking place.
Okay. So I read all of it. And like I said, it felt like you were stepping through your own life. And one of my questions is how much of you is in the book, but it's all about you.
Yes.
So, um, so was the writing therapeutic?
Yes.
And if so, okay, it's therapeutic, but in the writing itself, what was more therapeutic? First chapter, second chapter, or third chapter? Living in love, and then broken heart, and then living your best life. Because I don't want to assume. Because I actually said I've read them, but I I felt it going in and getting to the broken heart and getting to the living your best life. It kind of picked up, and I felt better about the person who was actually you. So,
Um, hmm.
or was writing in itself, is it therapeutic?
Yes. But I don't know that probably living in love was the most exciting part of obviously because the
Mhm.
feelings of anticipation of expecting this relationship to develop into something that you really want. So maybe that part was more therapeutic. I don't really know exactly if there was one part that was more therapeutic than the other, but maybe the being in love part.
Okay.
But then, it could be the broken heart because you could be trying to write to get, I'm writing to get over those feelings or writing to um, deal with those feelings of not being quite on the same page with the other person.
Okay. And so I'm this is the question right off the top of my head because I was unaware that a, another book had preceded this one. The book
Yes,
that preceded this one, was it part of the same cycle or was it something completely different?
something completely different. I can show it.
Oh, please.
Okay. Okay, so this one is the gift of poetry.
Okay.
Very different from the matters of the heart.
Okay.
Um,
And how many poems are in that one?
this one has 100.
Okay. All right. And that leads me to another question. And I asked this question because I have done edits to my sister who is going under the your same publisher, and she does poetry and she does short stories. So I know that for what you put in the first and second book, there's a lot more content out there, correct?
For the second book,
Period. You have a lot of writings that did not appear in either one of the books?
um, no. Well, there's some, but most of what I write does go into the books. I don't have too much that I don't include in the books. Um, most of the poems are in the books. Very few are not.
Okay. So your writing is intentional.
Yes,
You have a reason for the
yes,
content that goes in and it's very intentional.
yes.
Okay, okay.
So it just the way I write is when it comes when a poem comes to me, I begin to jot down um, what comes and I whatever the title may be. And as an artist, it can just come at any time. So I just write whatever I feel or whatever title comes to me, and if it really stays, I start to write it, put it down on paper. On paper.
So your poetry is intentional. Was it always your thought to put it in a book form, or you were just writing for the sake of writing?
In the very beginning, just writing for the sake of writing. I um, did not necessarily have any thought about them being put into a book. Um, that came about later when with my son meeting um, Mr. Horn, meeting Matthew, and kind of getting the ball rolling with his own book, and then I got on board with my poems that I had, thinking that I would put the poems that I had collected over the years in the book, but the majority of them are not. They are pretty much maybe one or two are in there with some adjustments or so, my first book. But most of them are poems that are new poems.
Okay. Now, the second book or the first book?
Both books.
They're new poems. Okay.
They're new poems.
And they were done very intentional. So, how has I've talked to Matthew and actually Matthew, I actually have already interviewed him and his spotlight will come out um next Friday, not this Friday, next Friday. So, was it your son that pushed you toward putting it in book form? So you have two books. So, what was the catalyst for the first book that has different from this book? What was the catalyst for publishing your first book?
Well, when my son met Matthew and he started telling me about that he was a publisher and how he could, help him with his book of journeys, the jewels of my journey. I said, okay, I have poems, I can introduce me to him. I'd like to try to publish my poems. So it kind of just went from him meeting Matthew to me getting on board with Matthew and starting to put my poems into a book form. And, Matthew walked me through what I needed to do. And the poems just really came. I just had the inspiration and, just started writing and writing and writing. And he was saying, divide it up into the three sections. So, that's really how I got started. I didn't. It was just inspiration. Just it just came, and I just started writing. And when I write, I really have to be in a certain frame of mind in order for the poems to really start to flow.
Hmm.
And when I initially started to give him I was ready for him to. It sent the poems to him, and he said, "Can you give me 10 more?" And at that time, I was thinking, oh, okay. I didn't know how, but it's those 10 poems came, and I had them by the end of the week, and the book was complete.
When was your first book published?
And I believe it was 2022. Let me make sure. Get that one. 2023.
2023,
Copyright is 2023.
and this one is this year?
And this one is the gift of
25. Okay.
2025,
Right.
the matters of the heart.
Okay. All right. So, just as a matter of reference, any plans for a third book?
Um, Maybe down the line, I started to write a children's book, but that's going to take me a while because I don't, even though I'm a teacher, I write from experiences, so I'm having to pull a lot of um, ideas from different places in order to come up with poems for a children's book. I do have maybe about six that I've written already, but this one will take a while because I'm not. It takes me. It's not, like I said, not my own experiences that I'm basing it on. So I'm having to really think a lot about what my titles will be and how the poems will come.
So I usually ask any authors that I have on, what are your inspiration, but you're your own inspiration.
Yes, pretty much.
Okay. You mentioned your son. He does poetry as well, or is his
No, his book is like more like a self-help book and more about his own personal journeys and how he can help someone else with their journey through life.
okay? So I'm going to ask you a question that's always asked of me. I did some minor writing, and my sister used to have a blog that was called Friday at Sundown. And I used to do some minor writing, and I did a little series, and she always is talking about an audiobook and listening to your voice. Have you ever thought about doing an audiobook using your own voice, talking about your own poetry?
I would love to do that.
Uh,
Absolutely.
I think it would go a ways. I think it would go a ways. Um, and I may talk to you about that. There's a segment that I do. So, if you wish to do some and you want to give it to me and I throw it on my YouTube channel and use that as a barometer of what you want to go further, we can do that. We can,
Okay.
okay, we can do that. All right. So, the book is available from, and I always mess up. It's available. You have your own web page.
Yes.
That was created when Matthew helped you guys with your publishing. How are sales going with this book, and how did it go with the last book?
Um, little slow, but hopefully it'll pick up with both of them. Um, it takes a minute.
All right. Well, I'm hoping that we do get some viewers at it starts with my church and then I push it out to other people with my YouTube channel. I'm not one of those that have all of these followers.
Mm.
Um, and if that comes, it comes. It's that'll be the Lord's will. But I'm hoping that within when people look at this spotlight, they will be interested in matters of the heart. I will be putting some information out there so that they can get in touch with you. You're still in Georgia, you say, correct?
No, no, I'm in Maryland.
You're in Maryland?
Yes.
Oh, wait a minute. I'm mixing up my two authors. I'm mixing up my two authors because Matthew introduced me to two of you. You were the one that I actually could have probably sat someplace and had a conversation. So, since you are in Maryland and my first lady and our minister, um, they do a lot of women-based things. So, we may invite you to the church or one of their women's ministries, and then maybe again, we can get some sales going. I'm trying to do some things with the church to help my authors. Um, And I have a lot. I shouldn't say a lot. I have quite a few authors that have done stuff. So I'm trying to figure out how to be able to market this to um, the church. We're actually having something that I'll talk to you offline that you might be interested in, but we'll talk about that. So, the last one was a book of poetry, and it was more, no, it was about you coming through a certain period in your life. So and this can be both books, as um, an author of poems, two books published now. But let's talk about matters of the heart. When someone purchases and reads matters of the heart, what do you want the takeaway to be to the people that are reading your book?
Just that they enjoy the poems that I wrote. Maybe put themselves in some of the poems and think about their own life experiences as they read the poems. You know how they might have felt when they were in love, or if they had a broken heart and came through it, and then deciding, okay, now I'm going to live my best life. Just experiencing it based on some of their own personal experiences that they may have had over their lifetime.
Okay. So, it is Matters of the Heart. It is available by your website. Is it also on Amazon?
It should be,
Okay. All right. Okay. All right.
and mhm,
So we'll point some people that way. Again, I'm hoping that this will generate some sales for you, and
okay.
hopefully
And my website is Kwajelyn.com.
right. Those are very nice websites. He pointed me to two of them. They're very nice websites. And Matthew himself, like I said, uh, very personable. I like his work ethic. I like where he wants to go, and he is good with promoting folks that he knows, and that's a plus as well. That's a
Yeah.
plus as well. All right, so we didn't take up too much time, but I'm hoping that there is a takeaway from this. Like I said, I actually sat here and read all of it. Um, it was an easy read, and that's what people. Um, and the one thing that I had a favorite. Let me see if I can find it real quick. I had a favorite one and I hope I can. Maybe yeah. Think it was no more, but I'm not sure. I'll have to read them again because I had actually written it down, and I guess when I printed it out, um, that it didn't come off. But yeah, I am noticing that the Living in Love is definitely more poems than the two, and the Living Your Best Life is smaller than the other chapters. Is Living Your Best Life because that's ongoing?
Um, yes, and that's just all that's just part of where I was at that time.
Okay.
That's just all the poems that came. And yes, of course, living your best life is gonna be something that will be ongoing.
Okay. And how long did it take you to, since you were very intentional with doing this, how long did it take you to do the poems for the book?
Ooh, I didn't haven't really thought about that. I would guess maybe a year, I'm guessing.
Okay. Okay.
About a
Were
year.
was that because you would change it or you would add to it or
It just took
as the
that enough
inspiration
time,
hit you?
right, as the inspiration hit me.
Okay. All right. All right. Okay. So, Kwajelyn Lewis, the book is called Matters of the Heart. There's a secondary book, The Gift of Poetry, correct?
Yes.
And I'm definitely going to add that to the end of the spotlight so that they can see that and give everyone a chance to purchase both of them. I have to say that I wasn't a big poetry guy, but working with my sister and reading this and another one, I'm getting into it, you know. Um, my I've been reading since I was young, collecting comics since I was young. Um, and I think I'm more into serialized things. I like, you know, chapters, I mean, book one, book two, and book three. But in working with Belinda Lane, who I'm hoping to do her, she's getting ready to drop a book soon, and I'm working with her. I'm in editing her poetry and short stories. I kind of understand the flow of how it goes.
Mhm.
Um, uh, I guess it's just like any book. There's a beginning, a middle, and an end. But I'm getting more into poetry. So, and I
Okay.
enjoyed this. I enjoyed this. Actually, I think I sat down and I think I finished it all in about maybe 30 minutes or less. 30 minutes or less. There were at least two, and like I said, I jotted them down, but that's gone. Well, I went back to them because I wanted to read them and really pay attention to what's going on. But I think at least one in each chapter, I had to take a double take to look at it and try to decipher what was going on. So again, Kwajelyn, we thank you for appearing on the spotlight. Taking time for your busy schedule because I know teachers are busy and I know the school year is just starting. Um, but again, we thank you for coming on and we hope and wish you luck in your book sales for both books and anything that we can do to promote those, we'll definitely do.
Thank you so much for having me, Mr. Spencer.
I appreciate you. Have a good evening.
You too.
I asked the author, Kwajelyn Lewis, to read a couple of her poems from her book. So here is Miss Lewis reading A Quiet Place and Broken from her book of poems known as Matters of the Heart.
Quiet place. Can you give me a quiet place? A place of reprieve, a place to achieve, a place to reflect, a place to collect me. A quiet place. No talk needed, no in your face vibrato, no needing to be told, no scolding, just holding. No being brave, no other place. Happy face. Just a place to be me, to be seen, to be lost in thought, to be brought back from the edge of the ledge. A quiet place. Can you be my quiet space, my quiet place? Broken. I'm broken in many beautiful colored pieces. I'm shattered pieces that are scattered. A piece that may have been left with you. A piece that's the color of blue. A piece that took you out of a stew. Maybe the piece was green, beautiful and serene. Maybe the piece was purple and made you feel royal, like a king or queen. Maybe the piece was fiery red that struck something deep in your soul, woke the dead, caused you to lift your head. Maybe the piece was pink, soft and kind, a touch, a kiss, a smile at the right time. Maybe the piece was black and dark, and left you bruised and broken-hearted. Maybe the peace was white and lifted you and guided you into the light so bright. Maybe it was orange, like a summer sunset that warmed your soul, that engulfed you and sheltered you from the cold. So I'm broken, shattered, and scattered into many beautiful colored pieces. The pieces that you see, the many pieces of me.